You have the files set up. Let's double check the frame rate, make sure that it is set to 12. And then I'm going to reduce the size of my timeline. What I'm going to do first, though, is take a look at my panel options. And here's where you can change the increments on your timeline. Usually it defaults to timecode, which is going to show you the number of seconds and the number of frames within each second. So if I zoom in on this a great deal, you can see that it goes 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the 12th one is at 1 second. If I want to just see the number of frames, I can click on frame number, and then it's going to calculate the full number of frames for an entire video. In this case, I want 3 seconds, which is also 36 frames. So I'm going to click and drag on this, and you can see as I'm dragging it, there was a little black box here. And that's going to show me either the number of frames. Well, I'll just stick with the number of frames, or it'll show you the time and the frames. So I want to put this to 36. So I'm going to wait until that black box says end at 36 and duration at 36. And now my animation is set to be 36 frames long, and since it's 12 frames per second, that will be 3 seconds. If you want to get a feel for the amount of time, you can just hit the play button, and you can kind of see how long it just takes the playhead to move across. That's how long you have to have your object move from one side to the other. So to start the animation, we want to start with layer, video layers, new blank video layer. And I can probably do my entire animation on just this one video layer unless I want to have another element that's going to appear to be on top, in which case I could do that on a separate video layer. And then in order to get my hotkeys to work with the advancing back and forth, so I know some of you in class, when you hit the arrow keys, it doesn't always work. So we want to check the box here and make sure Enable Timeline Shortcut Keys is turned on. Now I can use my arrow key to move back and forth in the timeline. And I also want to make sure my onion skin settings are turned on. So this will mean that as I start to draw, oops, and I can always Command Z if I don't like what it is that I've drawn. You can also, in Photoshop, if you want to go back more than one step using Command Z, you have to add options. So you have to go Option Command Z, and then to go forward, you have to do Shift Command Z. You can also use the Histories palette, and that will allow you to also undo things that you decide you want to change later on. So now I'm going to use my space bar, and I'm going to go forward 1 frame, and then I can have my object move forward. This can even be a little bit sketchy if you want it to be. And then at some point the object will start to exit when I kind of think of as the porthole. So this is the area that it has to come out of, and then it has to exit on the other side in this porthole area. However, in between the start of this animation and the finish of this animation, anything can happen. This could become gigantic, so it could get larger, and then it could get smaller. It could move up, and then probably doesn't really have enough time to do a full loop-de-loop, but it could move up and down, or it might just move straight across and then at the end end up with an exit strategy. So my animation will be happening in the middle parts here. And so around whatever year is going to be sort of the middle of your animation, whether it's actually in the middle or another location, that's going to happen at around 18 seconds. So just keep that in mind. It's going to happen around the halfway point. So pace yourself, give yourself enough time to get off of the page as well.